What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. With all the ups and downs this year brought for the Lakers, there's still a chance for them. There's still an opportunity for them to make the play-in tournament. Right now, currently, they're in the 10th seed, which is the last spot for the play-in due to the fact that the San Antonio Spurs lost last night to the Memphis Grizzlies by 1 point in a thriller-type game. And there's still a chance for the Lakers to make the play-in tournament. And, of course, there is still a chance for Anthony Davis to return in the next couple games and possibly help them, win a few games to get into the play-in tournament, and the Lakers should feel very fortunate because as bad as they played this year, as bad as they played this season, all throughout the season, very, very up and down season, had some decent moments where, they have, played together or, played decently, fairly well in a game, even though they might have came out with a loss. They had some decent moments this year, but it just wasn't good enough to equate to winning. And when you're not winning, nobody cares about the decent moments you have or the good moments you have on the floor and where you show, okay, this team looks like they got potential. I never really saw much potential because, like I said, it was just moments in the season to me about, how they played and how they go about doing their business on the floor. Because as I said before, there's just no chemistry from what I see with this team. I just see a bunch of star players and ageless star players that are joined together on this team, wearing the same jersey every night, getting beat as a team, as a unit, and being embarrassed most nights. When you look at that and you take that into account, this team probably should be like the 12th or 13th seed based upon everything you've seen. I mean, some of the losses they've had this year, especially within this last month or so, has been very, very embarrassing because they've been blown out a lot. They've had 25 plus point leads and blown those. They found themselves sleepwalking on defense so bad where, it would be 6-7 possessions in a row in a game where you would see a team get layups and dunks. And that shouldn't happen if you're trying or applying yourself on defense. And I'd said before, their biggest issue is defense. They can't stop anybody. They can't stop anything anybody's trying to do. And when teams really realize, well, hey, they have nobody to stop us, let's just go ahead and go in the paint and score and maybe put them in foul trouble, put them on their heels even more, and we'll take advantage if we have any wide open threes by taking those, which would be a high percentage shot because they don't have any defense and they allow a lot of wide open threes as well. So it's like when teams figure the Lakers out within the game while they're playing them, they could be down 10, 20 points. But once they figure out that the Lakers can't stop them on defense, they can just do what they want, get to the paint and get any high percentage shot they want. They seem to always make a comeback against the Lakers and come back and beat them. That just seems to be the Lakers' MO this season. And when the Lakers have a big lead, they always seem to take their foot off the gas or let up or give the team life by shooting continuous threes, start missing, the team goes on a run, then they panic, and then they find themselves losing. It's just the way it is. And a lot of people don't want to say this, but this right here can put a little bit of a stain on the GOAT case for LeBron James. LeBron James is chasing that GOAT, that wears number 23. And in order to reach that, you have to find ways to win. And I'm not saying that LeBron James is not one of the greatest of all time, because he is. He's probably the second or third best player of all time. But in my opinion, he'll never be, Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan is just the GOAT of all GOATs. That's just the way it is, in my opinion. But, it doesn't hurt it doesn't help his case when you can't even when you barely might not make a play-in tournament when that's a second opportunity to make the playoffs. Whereas all the other years, there was no such thing as a play-in tournament. It was 1 through 8, and that's all it was. Everything after that was a failure. And so now that you have an opportunity to make a play-in tournament, you've got to find a way to make that, especially with 3 superstars on your team. And I don't want to hear anything about, well, Anthony Davis is hurt. Well, that's fine. But Anthony Davis played, some games this year. He has played this year. And the games that he played in, they lost big leads. The games that he's played in, their defense was horrible. And the games he's played in, they lost as a team. And that's with all 3 of them on the floor. And then even when LeBron was out some, it was AD and Westbrook. They found themselves losing games as well. So At this point, it doesn't really matter who's on the floor. The only thing that matters are they going to play collective team defense? Are they going to get stops when they need to? And can they find a way to pull out some wins? Because they need to basically almost win out the rest of this season just to find themselves in the play-in tournament and, hope San Antonio loses like maybe one or two more at least, to put themselves in the position to possibly make that play-in tournament. Now, I will say this, if they make the play-in tournament and they are healthy, they still are a dangerous team just because they have that type of superstardom on the floor. And like I said, when you go into the playoffs, everybody's record is 0-0. Nobody's record is better than anybody else's. It's like you start all over again, and winner take all. One game, says it all. So, win or go home. So, I mean, it's crazy how all this has happened this season. Russell Westbrook, the trade didn't go through. Anthony Davis stays hurt. LeBron James is getting older, but he is scoring a lot of points and doing his thing on the offensive end. But the Lakers still can't win, but they find themselves in a possibility still where they can still make the play-in tournament possibly, and nobody can really even figure out how, because like I said, the way they played the last couple months, especially if you watch them, they should be like the 13th or 14th seed. They shouldn't even have an opportunity to make the play-in tournament the way they played the last, couple months as well. Actually, you could say throughout the whole season, but they still find themselves treading water, and they still have an opportunity to do that. But as I said before, I know LeBron James is, playing his best basketball. Best basketball I've seen of somebody that's been playing for 20 years, 20 years. And, in his 18th season, 19th season or whatever, he's still playing at a pretty supremely high level. But like I said, that doesn't mean anything if you're not winning. And this is the reason why I said it can hurt his case a little bit for that GOAT case, because how are you putting up all these points and your team isn't winning? How do you have three superstars on your team and you are barely in the play-in tournament? You're like the 10th seed. How is that even possible? It's not even fathomable to most people, and definitely not to me, because I definitely just don't understand how they, could play this poor, throughout the season with the talent that they have on the floor. I mean, they don't have, BS players. They got some players that can really play basketball. Now, they don't play good defense, but they still can play basketball. I mean, Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench, Malik Monk has been good, Austin Reeves has been pretty good, pretty good rookie, LeBron is going to be LeBron, Westbrook has had his struggles, but he still had some games where he's played good. Matter of fact, this last month, he's been playing pretty decent, not bad, not turning the ball over as much as he was in the beginning of the season, but he still has turnovers and things like that. But for the most part, this last month, he's been playing a little bit better, so we'll see how it goes when Anthony Davis returns. Now, as far as Anthony Davis, as I said before, his return is soon. It's supposed to be within the next, I'd say, few games, between the Pelicans or Nuggets when they play them. They're supposed to be, they're aiming for his return then. So hopefully that'll be a big, uplift for them, because right now, like I said, they're actually treading water on that play-in tournament spot at number 10, but they need to find ways to get wins. Now, they do have a game tonight, I believe, against Utah. So, that's a game that they can possibly win. I never believed in the Utah Jazz. I always thought they were just a team. And that's the reason why they never won any championships or anything like that, as far as I can remember, because they always had a good team, but just not a great team in regards to winning. Now, back in the day, they had a great team with, Karl Malone and all them, but that's way back in the day. But even still, they didn't win a championship then, so it's like, nobody never really respects the Jazz, or, well, I'm going to say nobody respects them, but, the Jazz is just never a team that nobody, I've never met anybody that's their favorite team or anything like that. They're just a team that I feel like every team can, good teams could beat up on. They found themselves up by 25 the other night against the Clippers, and the Clippers came back and beat them in huge fashion. Paul George just ended up, taking the game over, and, he didn't even play in like 2 months. So, the Lakers can beat Utah. They have to just, go out there and focus and, try to win and live off of the energy of, hey, we're trying to make the play-in tournament. We still got an opportunity because San Antonio lost. So they could be our gain. And that's the way the Lakers got to look at it. But as far as Anthony Davis, like I said, he should be coming back. And I think if he can play at a level of where, he's capable, I think the Lakers can possibly win a few games, possibly, because Anthony Davis has a talent of playing like a top 5, top 10 player. He has that type of talent. Now, whether he can stay healthy enough these last few games when he returns to help them, that remains to be seen, because every 2-3 games, I always notice he gets injured and he's never really a factor. But, maybe, he'll come back and stay healthy this time. Who knows? But with his help there, it could help them. It's not going to hurt them, of course. Having Anthony Davis back is definitely going to help them in a way where they'll have another scorer, another body, a big body out there who can at least, contest some shots at the rim and maybe get some blocks in there, because they need all the defense they can get. And I'm not saying Anthony Davis is a defensive guy, but he is a big 7-foot body and he can block some shots at times, which can actually help them, on a few possessions, which possibly can help them win a game. So, we'll see exactly what happens with that and when he returns. But overall, like I said, the Lakers have just been a mess this season, but they have, still have an opportunity to make the play-in tournament and right all their wrongs, because hypothetically, and this is a big hypothetical, if they made the play-in tournament and they found their way out of the play-in tournament into the first round of the playoffs or into the playoffs, I think they would get, knocked off by one of the top seeds. But still, that would somewhat be, more than what people thought they would have done, because most people right now probably think the Lakers might not even make the play-in tournament. So if they made the play-in tournament and made it through it and got to the first round of the playoffs and played like a Golden State or the Phoenix Suns, that would be almost a win for them. You know what I'm saying? Because based upon the way they've been playing since this season started, I personally thought after a while, especially these last couple months, I personally thought there might be a chance they actually missed the play-in tournament, don't even make the tournament at all. So, the fact that they're still treading water to possibly make it is kind of, it's mind-boggling to a degree, because like I said, as poor as they played, you wouldn't even think they'd have an opportunity, the way they've played. But, they still do. They still got LeBron. They got AD returning. Russell Westbrook is, cutting down on his turnovers a little, and they still got hope. So if that hope is still there, try to ride that out, see what happens, try to win out as much as you can the rest of the season. Hope the Spurs lose at least 1 or 2, and maybe you can get in the play-in tournament and see what happens. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always, and hey, Khaliis out.